It's personal between me and you, and I'm going to do you some serious harm, you big stiff idiot.
The untouchable True School Sports Empire proudly presents something the boxing game's missing. Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BT, and I came here to talk some boxing with the thousands of True School Sports subscribers. Now, this is the official post-fight review for Naoya Inoue versus Marlon Tapales, and your result of the fight is an Inoue 10th round stoppage. Inoue becomes undisputed champion for the second time in a calendar year. And a really good fight. You know, I got to give Marlon Tapales a lot of credit. I feel like people kind of wrote him off and overlooked him and whatnot. And, man, I think he did a lot better than Stephen Fulton, to be honest with you. And, you know, we were very gassed about the Fulton fight here on True School Sports. But really, when push came to shove, Marlon Tapales gave a much better account of himself than Stephen Fulton did, right? So let's talk about the fight. Now, first and foremost, I want to get this established. Now, the judges' scorecards had the fight extremely wide for Inoue. I didn't think it was that wide of a fight. I mean, I'm not going to tell you how many rounds. I'm not going to tell you how close I thought it was because I stopped scoring after a certain amount of rounds. But Tapales was winning some rounds. I feel like he was winning some rounds. He was very cagey. He was very hard to hit at times. He was slick. He was throwing some nice, clean, effective punches that were landing in a lot of those, you know, earlier rounds. And I just feel like he was hard done on the scorecard. I think a lot of the good work he was doing was being ignored by the commentators, who I think were biased. And I think he deserves more credit for the performance he did give, because he didn't go in there to box in a way like Stephen Fulton or Paul Butler. He went in there to fight in a way. And even Inoue himself, forget what I'm saying, Inoue himself said he never had such an exhausting fight in his career. And that's high praise.
You could see it in his face. Like, literally, he was like... the water, the sweat, and everything. He said it was the most extensive fight that he ever had in respect to Tapales. So he for him to even become humble himself after all that, and I mean, for me, as the fight was going on, what I seen from I seen him trying to think. It's like a chess game. Really, I never seen Inoue that into the fight to try to figure out the puzzles to beat this guy.
Yeah, Marlon really had him thinking. So it's a credit to Marlon, because despite the fact that Marlon was a bantamweight champion, unified super bantamweight champion, he wasn't getting that respect that, you know, a guy with those achievements normally gets. But now I think, even though he lost the belts, he gained something much greater, which is, I think, an increased reputation in the sport and more respect. So he's going to have a lot of great fights. He's going to be an attractive name for anybody, any and everybody at 122. And these belts are going to fragment again when Inoue inevitably decides to vacate, and Marlon will be right there to become champion
to
again.
Pick him up.
Yep, absolutely. As far as Inoue, you know, the guy literally has 19 knockouts in world title fights.
That's crazy.
And he's a 4-division champion, and he's a two-time undisputed for the first time in a calendar year. So it's hard to pick a lot of things to criticize. You know, he's operating at a pretty high level of greatness, but however, I gotta call a spade. You know, I give him his credit. You know, showed great boxing IQ to make some adjustments with how he was throwing the right hand down the stretch of the fight.
Yeah.
But in a way, I think needs to stay at 122 just for a little bit longer. I think at 26, he's not quite ready. I mean, I think skill-wise he's ready, but I think physically, he needs to still physically fill out a bit more.
You want him to do a couple of defenses?
Yeah, I mean, and that was a plan anyway. That before any of this happened, that was a plan anyway. They were talking about maybe fighting Louis Netty, Sam Goodman,
Okay.
even, you know, Merja Akmadali, which I don't want to see fight, but nonetheless, you know, I think that's the way to go for him, because right now, physically, I just think he needs to mature a bit more. But, you know, good for him. He showed good boxing IQ. He showed the ability to be patient, because a lot of times when you're fighting a guy like Marlon Tapales, it can be very hard to stay patient. And, you know, he eventually went in there and he got him out of there, which ultimately, look, don't matter how you start, don't know how the middle is. Boxing is a results-based business, and the result was a knockout, a stoppage. And so you can't argue with the result. As far as him being the #1 pound-for-pound fighter in boxing, just to address that real quick. Now, full disclaimer, I was looking for any reason to give Inoue that spot, like solidified just by himself, #1. But, and it's going to sound harsh, right? Because he's done so great in his career. But like Terrence Crawford, if you could compare their performances in their undisputed fights, you know, Crawford versus Indongo and Spence, and Inoue versus Butler and Tapales, Crawford had the two more dominant performances in his undisputed fights. They're like that little moment where Marlon loaded up and threw that big ass uppercut and snapped Inoue's head back. There was none of that when he fought in Undisputed or Spence for Crawford.
Yeah.
He's been that level of dominance. So look, I don't think you can go wrong either way. But for me, Terrence Crawford will have to remain number one. He'll have to be pound for number one all by himself. And Inoue is gonna have to continue to do a little bit more, even though he's already done quite a lot. And look, if you got a number one.
Yeah.
No arguments, because 21-0, I've been 21-0 with 19 KOs in world title fights. That's nothing to scoff at, and that is pound for pound number one worthy. But for me, pound for pound isn't just about the paper, but it's about level of dominance when you're in the ring and how consistently you dominate. And Terrence Crawford has never had a close fight in his career, and when he fought for Undisputed twice, there were really not many moments I can pick out in my head from the Indongo or Spence fights. So I'm gonna keep him there, but Inoue is a great fighter.
Yeah, I'm just going to say shout out to Japan again, the land of rising sun. I see that Inoue took that fight, humbly took the victory in and realized that he's got the kinks to get to work on. For me, the biggest thing working off his back foot, I'm going to watch that more often on Inoue. I always say we all got to work on something in boxing or in life, and this is one of the things that I want to see Inoue work on. Work better on your back foot, because if Tapales would have pushed him more and pushed him back more, that would have been a big fight, would have been a bigger problem for Inoue. But you won the fight. Shout out to Japan and shout out to the Philippines and Tapales.
Absolutely, and for Marlon, I mean, the last thing for Marlon, man, because I feel like, Inoue did what he was supposed to do, which is eventually stop Marlon, even though it took longer than most people anticipated.
Right.
But Marlon, so many good fights from at 122. I mean, he could fight Sam Goodman or Louis Netty, Rai Salim, Elijah Pierce. I mean, the list goes on and on.
Real quick, I'll say one thing. My son always says sometimes some fights, even the fighter lost, actually he becomes better.
Their stock can rise, right? So this is one of those many examples I can give you in boxing of a fighter losing, but he actually gains more respect in a loss because first of all, sometimes fighters could be good and they could even be winning world title fights, but maybe the circumstances and the opponents they were fighting to win those world titles, they weren't the highest profile. So I think Tapales kind of fits that bill. He's an exciting fighter, good fighter, quality fighter, but he just wasn't in a very high profile world title fights.
This right here.
But this was as high profile could be around these weights.
Exactly.
And he did so much better than Stephen Fulton. I mean, Stephen Fulton didn't even put up any resistance to Inoue. It was pretty much a showcase fight. This was a legitimate, proper world championship fight. So for that, you give Marlon Tapales credit. You give all the people that are involved with his team, Sean Gibbons, Larry Wade, the coaches, everyone, a lot of credit.
Real
And looking forward to seeing what he does in the future and in his conquest to become, champion again.
Yeah.
So shout out to the Philippines. Shout out to Naoya Inoue, who I said it in my last post-fight review video when I talked about the Fulton fight. I'll say it again here in a much different way. He has mastered. There's many guys that are good at boxing. It's not really that hard to be good at boxing. There's many people that are good at boxing. Shit, even I'm kind of good at boxing, but there's very few that master the sweet science of boxing. And mastering the sweet science of boxing isn't about always being, dominant and it being one-way traffic like Inoue has had recently against Paul Butler and Stephen Fulton and the Donaire rematch. Sometimes it's about when you get a guy like Tapales, who's cagey, who knows what he's doing, who can counterpunch, who isn't opening up enough for you to really want to open up like you want to.
Yeah.
But you still find a way to make the adjustments on the fly and get the knockout victory. So Inoue did that, and because he showed that level of boxing acumen, I look at him as a master of the sweet science, which is the highest compliment I can give any fighter in boxing. So
and that's what champions do. They know how to make adjustments. Doesn't matter how late in the game, you just gotta make the adjustment to win the fight. And he did that when you said that he knew how to do the jab on the outside, so they just don't look like he was, and they actually paid dividends for him.
So on that note, listen, shout out to the monster, 2 times undisputed in 1 calendar year. The stuff of legend. Really, really just doing everything he can to make a mark
himself
worldwide, not just for himself, but for his country of Japan. And he's doing a great job being representative for Japanese boxing, not just in the country, but worldwide. So on that note, you guys let me know what you think. What did you make of Inoue's performance? Who do you want to see him fight next? Leave your comments down below. Make sure you guys take the time to subscribe. And like I say in every single one of these videos, you can love me or you can hate me, but I'm just a kid from Daniel. So until next time, take care, guys. Thank you for watching another video on the Untouchable True School Sports Empire. We're here at the Hatanaka Boxing Gym in Nagoya, Japan. And for more great videos just like this one, make sure you guys click right here.